So I love the message that you just shared, because a lot, how I feel, as well as that our struggles, what you've gone through, is shining that light that there's still hope, and there was maybe that bigger purpose, right? Because I know when I first met you here in the community, and your son, you guys were both bright lights, and we were connected right away. And it wasn't, your son comes in and plays with my kids, and he is a bright light. He doesn't see not having his eye or his disablement that it makes him any different.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really his story. Right. So I know we all have, like I said, a lot of hard things to overcome, and my story has even more hard things, right? We all have just really hard challenges to get through. I came from an abusive relationship before that I had to overcome. And so I just take in all of this as learning, right? The way that I look at it is God always knew what was going to happen in our lives, and that's the way it was going to be, right? That helps me heal and process the grief, right? Because there's always a loss involved, right? Like, for example, when my son lost his eye, that was grief. It's hard to lose a body part. It's hard to lose anything in life, whether it's a person or, a dream, hopes that you had for your life. And that, for me, that helps to think God knew this was my story.
Yeah.
And this was always going to be my story. And this is what I'm here to do. And I'm here to love others and share that light with other people in the world. So whatever I've overcome, the stories and the lessons I've learned, I can then share that with others and help them in their journey.
I love that. And now,
and that's what you're doing right
yes,
now too.
I
So
am.
we can talk about what you're
But
doing.
I'm curious to what kind of modalities did you do, like as far as helping you
Healing.
through the grieving?
Yeah.
Like what kind of healing did you try?
So I think in terms of kind of these two challenges that I'm sharing, so the one is the abusive relationship that I came from, and then also the struggles with my son's diagnosis. Really getting in community, I think, for me, is one of the most important things, right? We can't walk this journey alone, no matter what we're facing. So it could be addiction, whatever it is, you finding a group of people that will surround you and love you and speak truth to you when you can't see the truth is really important.
Especially for the abuse, if you find that was really hard to see.
Yes. So I was in a group through my church, actually, called Fierce Love. It was a group of women who met, who had struggles in their relationships, and it was life-giving. In fact, we've been meeting for years. Even though I don't live in the same city anymore, we still have a call weekly. So we've been in each other's lives for almost 10 years. It's crazy. But those relationships get us through. And I know you have a similar story. When you find yourself, when the ground drops out from underneath you and you don't know which way is up, you need people to come alongside you and hold you and just be there to help you find your way along the path. So for me, that was true. I've gone to groups like Celebrate Recovery at church to get help. I've gone to this Fierce Love group. And then for my son, there's an organization called the Children's Tumor Foundation, and that's for people who have neurofibromatosis, which is his diagnosis. So being in community with people, even though it's a rare disease, there's a lot of other people in the world that have it. And so then you can kind of process your journey with these people and not feel alone.
Oh, I love that you share that, because that is a big part, is finding community. And a lot of people, if they are in abuse or addiction, they kind of isolate themselves. So it's kind of putting themselves out there to finding that community. Getting help.
Yeah. And we all need help. And something I like to remind people is sometimes when it's hard to ask for help, remember that you're allowing someone else to bless you. You're giving them purpose. So when somebody else can bring you a meal, when somebody else can just sit there on the phone with you, the joy that they're getting from that is huge. There was a time in my life where I was near suicidal, let's say. I was really struggling with some depression when I was pregnant with my second child and still in the abusive relationship. And I remember one night sitting on my kitchen floor, really struggling, considering, how I could get out of the situation I was in. And I needed to talk to someone. And so I just went on my phone on Facebook at the time. We were all on Facebook. And I went to, the green light. You could tell somebody was on. It was the middle of the night. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning. And I just scrolled until I found someone, and I messaged them. I said, "Can you talk right now?
Wow.
I can't be alone right now. I need to talk to someone." And this was someone that I wasn't super close to, but she stayed on the phone with me for hours until I fell asleep.
Wow, that gives me full body shivers.
Because I needed help.
Yeah.
I could not be alone. I knew it. I knew I need help right now. And it can be embarrassing. It can be hard. I know oftentimes in my past I felt like a burden. asking for help. But the truth is, we all need each other. And that girl might have needed me in that moment.
Yes.
We don't know the ramifications of the roles that people get to play, you know? And she can go on in her life and know, I mean, she saved my life. She made an impact. I don't know what would have happened, but I wasn't okay, you know? And so for her to sit there for hours with me, even though we were not close, this was someone I barely knew. And I just said, okay, I'm good now. Thank you.
Wow.
And after hours, and she's like, okay, I'm here if you need me. And I don't actually think we've ever spoken again.
Wow.
But she was there for me in that
It's
night.
Such a powerful message, because I felt like you mentioned burden. I felt that, you know, coming into the circle of friends, I felt a burden if I came down with what was really truly going down, or how I really felt, or I'd come to the edge and I'm like, oh no, you know, everyone's kind of light and it won't bring anyone down. But also, once I started sharing more on social media, I did get women or men message, and they were in a hard place, but I allowed them that safe place to share. And I remember asking God, like, who am I? How am I supposed to help them? Because I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I don't have it, but I had to just trust that God's like, well, no, I'm just there to listen and be that friend. And now we are. I mean, we're still talking and we're still discussing. And they've also, they've helped me. They don't realize how much they've helped me finish my book. Encourage me, because to bring a voice to abuse or addiction or suicidal thoughts, you know, and so they've all been a part of my journey of writing my book. Yeah,
community is so important. And that's exactly what I was saying about, you don't know the blessing that you are in someone's life, because you're blessing them by asking for help, and they're blessing you when they're showing up, or just with their problems, right? And I think the number one thing that I always try to stress to people is authenticity, like being real. The truth is, we are all facing really hard things. Every single person that you run into today is struggling with something really hard, whether it's an addiction, whether it's intrusive thoughts, whatever it could be. And then when we say, hey, like, I am really struggling with an addiction to alcohol, like, I need help. And then that's like, wow, that person just admitted to me that they're really struggling, like a real thing. And that's what life really is connecting and loving people with your truth.
Absolutely.
You know, and we walk around pretending everything's okay. And we don't have to do that. I think life is so much more fulfilling, and that's when you're stepping into your purpose, is when you're saying, hey, this is my story, like what I'm truly going through, right? Because we are all truly struggling with things every day, whatever it is, all the examples we've given. And sometimes it's not what's being done to us, but things that we're doing and we're struggling with. So yeah, just being real and showing up. Showing up and being real, that's it. That's shining bright in this world, and that's my platform.
It is more fulfilling, you know, as anxious as I was to be fully real, like, you know, with my book coming out with our full truth, I knew how hard that truth might be for some that knew us close, especially that knew Scott. Close, right? Because he was a great man. You know, his heart, his true heart. But there was struggle, right?
Absolutely.
And I know it's hard for people to read and whatnot, but
but we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And you can be an amazing person and struggle with intrusive thoughts. That's totally normal. And I think normalizing that for people by saying, hey, yeah, I may have my stuff together, or I may be really kind, or I may be whatever, I'm also struggling, right? Because I'm human.
And that's
we're
the reality.
All human.
Yes, nobody's perfect. Definitely not.
Nobody's perfect. And that's why we need a loving God. That you know, like, no matter what, we're not alone. We have a God who loves us, and it's okay to struggle, because he'll be there. God will be there with you.
Absolutely. Woo, I'm getting all shivers talking about this. This is such an important message. And I'm so glad you could share, part of your story. And
thank you for having me.
I want to see your crown. Look at your beautiful crown.
We'll show the crown.
Yeah. And she's never done pageants before, but she won. She won in April. And I love that about her, because it was your daughter getting into pageantry, right?
Yes, my daughter wanted to do a pageant, and so I said, I'll walk alongside you and I'll do this with you. And then I was shocked when I won, and it was such an honor. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to meet like-minded women and take my platform out into the world.
And share your light. So how can we find you?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at _Shine Life.
I love that. All right. Well, I just wanted to share this beautiful light and her story, because it's very powerful.
Thank you.